So as we were discussing, open system is a properly selected region in space. It can have a physical boundary or imaginary boundary. So if you see here the boundary is real, physical boundary it is. When I see this portion, okay, so here also it's a boundary, okay, but it is not real, it's imaginary. So this material is flowing from here. Okay? So other places material is contained, gases cannot escape from this portion. Here material is entering, gases are coming, or gases are liquid, whatever it is. But here the boundary is real. Now this dotted line what I have shown, this is the boundary for me. So part of this boundary is real, part of it is imaginary. This portion is imaginary, this portion is imaginary, rest of it is real, right? Okay. So the boundary can be real, imaginary, it can be fixed and movable, right? All possibilities are. Okay. If you see here, let's say a IC engine, right? So you have a movable boundary, fixed boundary, and imaginary boundary here. IC engine, there is inlet and an outlet. The gases charge, fresh charge is introduced to inlet, and through exhauster, the burnt and combustion products are let out, right? So like this, it can be, the boundary can be boundary which separates region of interest from surrounding. Can be a real one, can be imaginary, it can be a fixed, or it can be moving boundary. So all these three possibilities are there. So if you take another example of a nozzle, so nozzle is used to increase the kinetic energy of the gases or liquid, whatever it is, right? So if you see here, when a fluid is flowing in this portion, the as it moves, fluid moves from left side to right side, right? This is the flow direction of the fluid. So when I say fluid, fluid means it can be liquid or it can be gas. Gases and liquids together, they are called as fluid. Fluid means it can be liquid or it can be gas, both. So when a fluid, either it is liquid or gas, when it moves from left to right in a nozzle, what it finds is cross-section area available is decreasing. Right? Here it is more, cross-section area is more, diameter is more. As you move from left to right, diameter is decreasing. Therefore, what happens? Velocity increases, right? But pressure decreases. Right? This is according to Bernoulli's theorem that you have studied earlier, +2 and all. So, as the velocity increases, pressure decreases. So, a nozzle is used to increase the velocity at the expense of the pressure. Okay. So here, if you see, the boundary is the real here, physical boundary. This portion, inlet and exit, is an imaginary boundary, right? So I concentrate my study, energy balance study, on this region. This is my region of interest. Okay. Actually, in dimension, it is a conical shaped pipe, right? This is a conical shaped pipe. What we are showing is a cross section, right? So here also, the cylinder is a cylinder. The cylinder. But what I am showing it is a cross section of the cylinder. Okay. Hope you are able to imagine that, right? Am I audible to you? All of you are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Voice is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there is any thing, you please interrupt in between. Fine. So this is the system. So system is region of interest where we want to do an energy study. System can be open system or closed system. Open system is something where mass and energy both cross the boundary. Closed system is something where only energy can cross the boundary, not a mass. Okay. So let's go to next topic. Hope everything is clear here. Any doubt you have? Because these are very fundamentals. You should be 100% clear. There should not be any doubt in these concepts. When I say system, boundary, surrounding, open system, closed system, fixed boundary, moving boundary, imaginary boundary, real boundary. Any doubt? Any of these definitions? Anyone has got any doubt? Can anyone respond? Okay. If there are no doubts, we'll continue further. Okay. So, at any point of time, if you get doubts, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Let's move forward. Right. So, properties. Okay. So, I said system. System is a region of interest. There is a material inside gas. Now we define another term called property. What is a property? Property is any characteristic of a system by which its physical condition can be described. Okay? Please read this once again. Property, what is property? Any characteristic of a system by which its physical condition can be described. Right? So what are those which can describe the physical condition of the system? What are the conditions defined? So if you say what are the physical conditions, right? What characteristics define the physical condition? You have seen materials, right? Different materials you have seen, right? Let's list few materials. Let us say ice cream you have seen, hot coffee, cold water, brick, cement, right? Steel, aluminum. Okay, so these are all materials. So their properties, right? What's the difference between, let's say, a rock is there and a water? What is the basic difference between water and a rock? Can anyone respond? I'll give.
Rock is in solid state and water is in liquid state.
Yes, correct. Yes, correct. Yes, exactly. So now the state is defined by the some property. What is that property? Okay, here it is a state, liquid state or a solid state. Similarly, there are other properties. Let's say ice cream and a cup of coffee. What's the difference between ice cream and cup of coffee?
Hot and cold temperature.
Yes, hot and cold. Temperature is the property, right? So temperature, you can say the coffee is at high temperature, ice cream is at a low temperature, right? Clear? So let's say whether you have experienced it or not, do this experiment. Okay, tomorrow. If you have got fridge at home, what you do? Take a water bottle. All of you know these water bottles, plastic bottles, distillery or any manufacturer for that matter. All of you have seen water bottles, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Water bottles. You can find a water bottle, right? Yes. Any one of you say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? So take a water bottle. Do this experiment today. Empty the contents inside. Like let's say water is there inside. Just pour it out. Throw it out. Close the cap tightly. Close it very tight. Okay. Air is there. Outside air. Then keep this bottle in the freezer. What will happen? Can anybody guess? Do the experiment. When you do experiment, you will find out. That's fine. If someone has experienced it already, you can tell me. Has anybody has got experience with like this? Let's say you take an empty bottle and at room temperature, and then you kept it in fridge. Does anyone have this experience? This come across? Any response?
The bottle crumbles.
Bottle crumbles, right? What happens? Why it crumbles?
The density of air outside is greater than the density of air inside because outside air is cold.
Outside it is cold.
Yeah, in the fridge, outside the bottle.
Yeah, correct. So, okay. So when you have taken bottle, you have taken it at room temperature. Gas that was there in the bottle, it was at room temperature, right? Yes. So you took that room temperature bottle, you kept it in fridge, and you close the cap very tight. Inside fridge, it is temperature is less. Therefore, the gas temperature decreases. When the gas temperature decreases, volume decreases. Right? Temperature is related to volume is related to temperature. So when volume decreases, what happens? It collapses. Right? Or in other words, you can say pressure decreases. Inside temperature, the pressure inside the bottle decreases, whereas outside pressure is atmospheric pressure. It has not changed. Atmospheric pressure is constant. Whether it is fridge or outside, wherever it is, pressure is atmospheric. So outside pressure is same, whereas inside pressure has dropped. Now what happens? Therefore, outside pressure crushes the water. Right? Outside pressure crushes the water. Therefore, it collapses, right? So here what I wanted to say, these properties affect the physical state, right? Temperature affects the physical state of the air inside, right? Temperature decreases, pressure decreases, volume decreases, therefore the bottle gets crushed, right? The gas volume decreases, right? So therefore, when the bottle was outside, the inside pressure and outside pressure was the same. Therefore, bottle was intact. When the bottle was kept in fridge, what happened? The inside pressure reduced. Therefore, bottle got crushed. Right? So that is how it happens. So essentially, what I want to say here is any property is nothing but any characteristic of a system by which its physical condition can be described. Right? So anything that affects physical condition of the material are known as the characteristics. What are the properties? What are those some of the properties which define the physical state of the material are? I have listed here some properties: mass, volume, temperature, pressure, density. This is not the end. This list, there are many more properties that will come across. At least these properties you have heard, right? All of you have heard. I hope all of you heard about mass, volume, temperature, pressure, and density. Yes or no? Everyone has heard about
Yes,
these
sir.
properties?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everyone knows, right? If I say mass, you will
Yes.
understand, right? Everyone understands. Volume, if I say, everyone understands. Temperature, when I say, everyone understands. Pressure, when I say, everyone understands. And when I say density, also everybody understands, right? So these are all the some characteristics which define the physical state of the or physical condition of the system. Or system means it is material which is there inside, right? Gas, liquid, water, solid, whatever it is. System can be in any form, right? It can be a mixture, liquid and gas, liquid and solid, right? It can be not just a liquid or solid. It can be mixture also, right? Like you have seen so many states, mixture of two states, right? It can be colloid, it can be solution, it can be like that, slurry, semi-solid, right? And anything is possible. So basically all these properties define the state, which are they describe the state of the material or a system. Okay. Some of the familiar one are listed here: mass, volume, temperature, and density. Okay. Now these properties which describe the state of the system or physical condition of the system can be further classified, right? They can be classified as intensive properties and extensive properties, right? Properties define the state of the system or physical condition of the system. They can be further classified into two types. One is extensive properties, other one is intensive properties. Okay, what is the difference between intensive property and extensive property? Okay, intensive properties are the properties which do not depend on the quantity of matter, right? What is intensive property? Intensive properties do not depend on quantity of matter, right? How much matter is there? It does not depend on that. Such properties are known as intensive properties. Extensive properties, property value depends on how much material is there, right? For example, if I take mass, mass depends how much mass is there inside, right? It can be 2 kg, 3 kg, depending on quantity of matter, it varies. It can be 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, right? Whereas suppose if I take temperature, right? Let's say I measure temperature of water in a tank. It is, let's assume 30 degrees Celsius. I take only 1 cup of water. Then also its temperature will be only 30 degrees. It will not change. Right? It will not change. Whereas a property like volume of water, suppose in a big tank, it's a large volume. Right? If I take only small volume, depends on quantity of matter. Whereas a temperature does not depend on a quantity. Pressure does not depend on quantity of matter. It is independent of quantity of matter. Therefore, it is called an intensive property. Extensive property depends on quantity of matter. They are known as, which the properties that depend on quantity of matter are known as extensive properties.
Sir, how can pressure be an intensive property?
Pressure does not depend. Suppose I have air in this room. Air is there. Okay. This pressure is atmospheric pressure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Same air is there in the fridge, as I said earlier. Pressure inside fridge is also same, outside also the same.
But if we take the water, sir,
Water, okay.
take a quantity, take a tank of water, the pressure will be different now.
Yeah, it will be at the top, it will be atmospheric pressure. As you go down, the pressure will increase, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose at a depth, given depth, it's a given altitude, or a gradient, will it be same or different?
It will be same.
Yeah. So it depends on it does not depend on amount of water, it depends on its state. Okay. It does not depend on amount of water. It depends on the gradient, at what height you are measuring. Okay. This is a hydrostatic pressure which acts on, that you will see in fluid mechanics, we'll study in detail about that. Okay. Essentially what I am saying here is, it does not depend on amount of water. Pressure does not depend on amount of water. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to you or not? If you have clear doubt, say I didn't understand, sir. No problem. Okay, I'll explain. Hope I have cleared your doubt, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the intensive property is the property which does not depend on a quantity of a matter. Extensive property is the property which depends on the quantity of matter, right? Then we have another term called specific properties. Okay, extensive properties per unit mass or per unit volume, right? If I express the extensive property per unit mass or per unit volume, both can be used. So then they are called specific properties. For example, you have here density. What is density? Mass of the system divided by its volume, right? Mass of the system. If you see here, there is some system enclosed in this, right? It has got some mass. I divide this mass divided by its volume. Mass divided by volume is called a density. Okay. Similarly, if I divide the volume by mass, then it is called a specific volume. Right? Can be either way. Then there is a specific internal energy, specific enthalpy, specific free energy, like that you will come across a different terms. Specific means you convert it to per unit mass or per unit volume. Understand? Any extensive property, if you convert it into any extensive, take a system, measure its property, you find out that there is some extensive property. That property you measure it, then divide it by total volume or total mass. Either way, both are considered. Okay, it can be per unit mass or per unit volume. Right? So then those are called specific properties. Okay? Per unit mass. The quantities which are expressed usually per unit mass is very commonly that we express, we come across. Sometimes it is per unit volume also often used. More often we come across the per unit mass usually. Okay? Sometimes we do use a per unit volume also. Both are there. Okay? So let's take an example. I have a system. It has got a mass M, volume V, temperature T, pressure P, density rho. Let's say I divide this, right? This is a chamber, right? It has got some volume. I divide this. I put a partition, right? This physical mass is divided equally into two parts. I can do that now. Can I divide this or not? Any response? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will divide this into equal halves, right? So if I do it, what will happen? Let's check. I have divided. When I divide, what happens? Mass, initially it was M, now it has become half. Half this side, half this side. Volume, previously it was V, now half is given to left side, half is given to right side. Right? Temperature. If I divide, temperature does not change. Does it change? No. Pressure, does it change? No. Density, does it change? No. Right? So, here, this density is actually specific property. Right? Mass was converted into intensive property. Mass is actually mass per unit volume. What is density? Mass per unit volume. Total mass is divided by volume, then you get density, right? So mass, which is an extensive property, I have converted into intensive property. How I have converted? By dividing with volume, total volume, right? So this density, all extensive properties can be converted into intensive property by expressing them in terms of a per unit volume or per unit mass, right? So here these two are extensive properties, these they are intensive properties. Is that clear? Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we
Yes,
go? So see, you should be very thorough about a system, boundary, surrounding, types of boundaries: movable boundary, fixed boundary, imaginary boundary, real boundary. Systems: open system, closed system. Then property. What is property? Any characteristic of a system by which its physical condition can be defined. Properties can be divided into two types: intensive properties and extensive properties. Intensive properties are those properties which do not depend on the quantity of matter. Extensive properties are the properties which depend on quantity of matter. Extensive properties can be converted into intensive properties by expressing them in terms of a per unit volume or per unit mass. Right? Okay, let's go further. Just hang on 1 minute. Okay. Just I wanted to check whether I'm recording it or not. Okay. Let's go further. Thermodynamic equilibrium. What is thermodynamic equilibrium? So, if a system, if you take a system, is said to be exist in a state of equilibrium, in a state of thermodynamic equilibrium, when no change in any of a macroscopic property is registered. Okay, what I'm saying here, I have a system and I don't find any change in macroscopic properties, then I call the system to be in a thermodynamic equilibrium state. Okay, so if you have an isolated system, right? An isolated system, what is an isolated system? Let's try to understand. Isolated system is system which is enclosed by a boundary which does not permit both energy and mass transfer, right? If the boundary is such that it does not allow any mass transfer as well as any energy transfer. There is no energy entering or energy leaving. There is no mass entering and mass leaving the system. Such a system is known as isolated system. So if you have an isolated system, let's say, even if there is a difference in properties, one example I have taken. I have taken a system which is isolated. Okay, I find that temperature is different at different points. In this corner it is 20 degrees Celsius. In this corner it is 23 degrees Celsius. Somewhere near center it is 30 degrees Celsius. Slightly below it is 35 degrees Celsius. Here it is 40, like this. Okay. Bottom center it is 42 degrees Celsius. So there is variation of property within the system. So if there is a system like this, if you give time, if you give sufficient time, what will happen? An isolated system will always tend to become a equilibrium. It will attain a equilibrium. There is no equilibrium here, right? Temperature is varying. Right? Macroscopically, I find that temperature is different here, different here, different here. But if you give sufficient time, after some time, it will be equal everywhere. It will be equal everywhere, right? So, an isolated system always reaches in course of time a state of thermodynamic equilibrium and can never depart from it spontaneously. Therefore, there can be no Therefore, there can be no spontaneous change in any macroscopic property if the system exists in a equilibrium state. Okay, very lengthy, right? So try to understand once again. I read this statement. As I said, an isolated system always reaches an equilibrium state. If it is isolated, what is the meaning of isolated? Isolated means no transfer of energy, no transfer of mass. Both mass and energy transfer is totally prohibited, not permitted. Boundary is such that it does not permit energy to cross, mass to cross. Right? If so, then even if there are macroscopic differences in properties within the system, they will get equalized over a period of time. Right? An isolated system always reaches, in course of time, a state of thermodynamic equilibrium and can never depart from it spontaneously. What is the meaning of spontaneous? Spontaneous means things that happen on their own, right? Things that happen naturally are known as a spontaneous. Spontaneous. Suppose you have a hot cup of coffee. You keep it on table. Come back after 1 hour. What happens? What happens? Can anybody reply?
Cold.
Cold. A hot cup of coffee becoming cold is a spontaneous process. It happens on its own. You need not put any effort to it, right? You just leave it, it happens. Suppose there is a now at normal temperature, water is there. You want to make it ice. What you have to do? Will it happen on its own? What is the room temperature? Liquid water. You want this to become ice. What you have to do?
You can refrigerate.
How to get ice out of water?
Decrease the temperature.
Decrease the temperature, right? You have to decrease the temperature. So decreasing temperature will not happen because surrounding temperature is at around always system will be at a surrounding temperature. So what you have to do? You have to take it in an artificial system of refrigeration. You have to artificially reduce the surrounding temperature. In a refrigerator, what is happening? Artificially, you are reducing the temperature around that. Then what happens? Its temperature decreases, right? You get a cold objects out of it, right? So that is not spontaneous process, right? Okay. Spontaneous means naturally happening things. They are not spontaneous. So on its own, if there is a isolated system, it will attain an equilibrium state after some time, and this equilibrium will not be disturbed spontaneously. On its own, equilibrium will not be disturbed unless somebody disturbs it. Right? I have a system where temperature is same everywhere. On its own, temperature will not change automatically. Right? On its own, its temperature will not say from 30 to here to 32, it will become 0 degree. Here it will become 100 degrees Celsius. No, it will not happen. On its own, it will not happen. Some outside interference is required. Someone should change it. Naturally, it will not happen. Clear? Understood? So, therefore, there can be no spontaneous change in any macroscopic property if system exists in an equilibrium state. You won't find any change in the macroscopic properties. What are macroscopic properties? Temperature, pressure, volume, right? All these are macroscopic properties. Mass, specific heat, enthalpy, entropy, free energy. Then there are other Helmholtz function. There's many things you will come across later. Okay, that we'll study later. Okay, so these are some of the things. They are properties which will not change on their own. Right? Thermodynamic equilibrium. Let's continue. So, thermodynamic equilibrium, we say there is a thermodynamic equilibrium if the following conditions are satisfied. First one is there is a mechanical equilibrium. Right? To say something is in thermodynamic equilibrium, this condition has to be satisfied. What is that? There is absence of any unbalanced force within the system itself and also between the system and the surrounding. Right? So what is this? What is meaning of this? Unbalanced force. If there is unbalanced force, what happens? Suppose you have drawn this free body diagram in, you have this elements of civil engineering subject, right? You studied? Yes or no? Elements of civil engineering. Have you studied or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Free body diagram you have drawn there. You understand free body diagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a mass free body. You have forces acting on it. If there is an unbalanced force, what happens? Two opposite forces. Let us say you are standing on the floor, or you are sitting on the floor, right? Or if you are sitting or standing?
Sitting.
Sitting, right? So you are sitting. Your body weight is there, right? Body weight, body mass into acceleration due to gravity. Will be acting downwards, right? Body weight acts always downwards. Now this force is balanced by reaction from the ground, right? You are sitting, there is a reaction where you are sitting, right? You are sitting on chair, there is a reaction produced in the chair. So that reaction force balances the body weight, right? If it is not balanced, what will happen? You will keep sinking. Instead of sitting on chair, let us say you sit on liquid water, what happens? You sit on liquid water. Huh? No, because there's unbalance. Reaction force is not sufficient. So you go
Sir,
on.
in Dead Sea will float. In normal water will sink.
Yeah, in Dead Sea, the reaction is sufficient. Right? The reactive force that is acting on your body is enough to balance the body mass, body weight, sorry. Body weight is acting downwards. There is a reaction which is acting at your body. Reactive force and the body weight are balanced. If they are balanced, you will not sink. If they are not balanced, you will sink. Right? If you have a loose soil, sand, you will sink, right? When you are walking in a loose soil or loose sand, what happens? You find sink. You will sink, right? Yes or no? But you will not sink. You will sink to some extent. You will not go deep inside. Why? Because at that point, the surface contact between the sand and your foot is sufficient. Okay, to produce enough counterbalancing force, resisting force. Right? When it gets balanced, you become stable. Right? Whenever, what I wanted to say here is, whenever there is a unbalanced force, body moves. Not just moves, body gets accelerated. Okay. So whenever so you have this F equal to m into a, Newton's law, right? So whenever there is an unbalanced force F, it causes an acceleration on a mass M, right? Any body which is acted upon by an unbalanced force F leads to an acceleration A. You understand? F equal to ma equation. If there is no unbalanced force, no acceleration. So all of you hope know the definition of inertia. Have you heard inertia word?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Inertia. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is inertia? What is the definition of inertia? Can anyone define? Recollect from +2, high school.
Mass into
Mass into?
acceleration.
Mass into acceleration is inertia. Mass into acceleration is force, man. It is Newton's law. Have you heard the word inertia? Yes or no? No.
Yes.
You may
Yes.
know the definition, may not know the
Yes,
definition.
sir.
But word you have heard, right?
An
Inertia word you have. Huh?
external force required to move the object.
No. Definition is not correct. Word, at least inertia you have heard, right?
The point
Yes.
at which body stops
Okay.
by that.
No. Okay, fine. What you said is not correct. Fine. Inertia, you know, right? All of you know, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I will now say, all of you have heard this word statement, but you are not able to reproduce it. I will say, what is inertia? A body in the state of motion or steady state or rest will continues to be so unless otherwise acted upon by force. This is the definition of inertia, right? A body under state of rest or motion, right, remains there, right? If it is moving with, say, velocity v, it will keep moving with velocity v. If it is having zero velocity, not moving, then it will be zero velocity. This v will not change unless otherwise acted upon by a force. Right? A body under state of motion or rest will continue to be so unless otherwise acted upon by some external force. So if force does not act, then kinetic energy will not change. Simple it is. Right? If force applied is in the direction of velocity, velocity will increase. If force applied is in the opposite direction, velocity will decrease. Am I clear? You have the acceleration and deceleration, both are there. Velocity can decrease due to applied force, or velocity can decrease or increase due to applied force. If it is in the direction of velocity, then the velocity increases, right? If it is in opposing force, something is moving, you apply opposing force, then it comes to halt, right? Inertia is a body under state of rest or moving, its velocity doesn't change unless a force is applied. Okay, that is a inertia, definition of inertia. Okay, so what I mean to say here is, if there is unbalanced force, it leads to movement. Okay, here see, there is a word. There is mechanical equilibrium means what? There is complete absence. There is absence of any unbalanced force. There should not be any unbalanced force. Unbalanced means what? I am not saying there is no force. Forces are there, but all the forces are equalized, cancelled. No unbalance, right? If there is a total absence of unbalanced force within the system, you have a system inside, no unbalance. Between system and surrounding also no unbalance, right? Then we say it is mechanical equilibrium. If let us say between system and surrounding there is no unbalance, totally forces are balanced, then there is no relative velocity between system and surrounding, right? Suppose inside the system, between system and surrounding forces are balanced, but inside the system forces are not balanced. What will happen? The mass within the system will rotate. Okay, within the system mass will rotate. Okay, masses within the system may be turning, moving inside. Okay, so to say there is a total mechanical equilibrium, there should not be unbalanced force within as well as between the system and surrounding. Both should be satisfied. There should not be any unbalanced force within the system as well as between the system and the surrounding. Am I clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Anyone has got any doubt here? Yeah. So yes, please. Yeah. Anybody wants to say anything? Okay, fine. There is nothing. We'll continue. Chemical equilibrium. What is chemical equilibrium? There is no chemical reaction or a transfer of matter from one part of the system to another, such as a diffusion or a solution. Right? So that means there is no chemical reactions happening. Suppose you have a mixture of gases, oxygen, hydrogen. They are mixture, are there. They are not reacting. They are mixed, they are staying together, no problem. But they are not reacting and producing some other species. Right? Oxygen and hydrogen is there, mixed, no problem. Right? If you ignite, what happens? Chemical reaction starts and water is produced. That is not a state of equilibrium. Mixture can be there, but no reaction. That is called a chemical equilibrium. Similarly, no reactions and also no transfer of matter. Like a diffusion, matter gets diffused. Suppose you have this, I don't know, nowadays you people use ink. You know ink, writing ink. Have you heard about ink? Writing
Yes,
ink.
sir.
Yes.
If you put liquid, 1 drop of liquid ink in water, what happens? Have you seen? For these white dresses, we put blue, blue, what they call it as. Any ink? Have you observed any ink? Putting a drop of liquid ink in liquid water or any, for that matter,
Yes,
any
sir.
color. What
It
happens?
was
No.
spread. It was
Initially,
spread.
it happens. What happens? That liquid is concentrated. You see that the liquid is concentrated at one place. After some time, what happens? It slowly moves, spreads, right? Slowly it spreads, and the entire water becomes a. Initially, you have a concentrated color at one place. Now you have a diffused color, light color everywhere. So ink has diffused everywhere. Slowly it moves. So there is something called a mass moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. Right? There is a tendency for a mass to move from a higher concentration to lower concentration. It happens not only liquid, it happens in gases also. You have seen this smoke coming, right? Something is burning, smoke coming. That smoke is very dense near the fire. As it moves, rises, it disperses, it diffuses, and later you don't see that smoke because it disperses in the air, right? In the gases also, mass diffuses. So there should not be any diffusion. There should not be any diffusion means there should not be any concentration gradient, right? There should not be any concentration difference. If there is a difference in concentration, mass will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Something is at higher concentration at one location, it will try to diffuse to a place of lower concentration. Over a period of time, the concentration will become equal. Like temperature becomes equal, concentration also becomes equal. Right? So, if there is no concentration gradient, then there is no diffusion. If there is no diffusion and no chemical reaction, then that is called the chemical equilibrium. Clear? Is that clear? Okay. Next, thermal equilibrium. A system is said to be in thermal equilibrium if the temperature is same throughout the entire system. If temperature within system or between system is same, between system and surrounding is same, then it is in thermal equilibrium. Right? There should not be temperature difference between system and surrounding as well as within the system. There should not be any temperature difference. If there is a temperature difference, what happens? Suppose two bodies at different temperature, you bring them in contact, what happens?
Equilibrium takes place.
Equilibrium takes place. How it happens?
From more concentration to lower concentration.
Concentration? I am saying temperature, to temperature.
Yes, sir. From higher temperature to lower.
What happens? Higher temperature to lower temperature.
Heat
How it
moves.
happens? Huh?
Heat moves.
Yes? Heat flows, right?
Yes.
So, heat is an energy. A high temperature body has a lot of energy compared to low temperature body. So, from high temperature body to low temperature body, energy transfers in the form of heat, right? High temperature body loses energy, low temperature body gains energy, both their energy levels become equal, right? When they become equal, both will be at equilibrium. Once they come to equilibrium, no heat transfer. Further, there is no heat transfer, right? So, if there is no temperature difference within the system and between the system and surrounding, then we say thermal equilibrium. So, if all three satisfied, mechanical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, and thermal equilibrium, then the system is said thermodynamic equilibrium. If I say system is in a thermodynamic equilibrium state, when there is equilibrium, that is called state. If something is in a equilibrium, then we say it is a state of the system. If something is changing, properties are changing, temperature is changing, pressure is changing, volume is changing, then it is not state. It is a process. It is undergoing a process. If the properties are changing, then we say it is process. If properties are constant, then we say state. Right? You are sitting at some place. Then it is your state. You are sitting. You are moving. You are in transition. Right? You are going from your house to college. You are in transit. Right? Okay. So like that. Here it is. System is in a state or in transition. whether it is undergoing a change, a process, a transition, right? The system can be in a state or it can be in a transition mode. Transition mode means properties are changing. Properties are not changing means it is in a state of equilibrium. Okay, clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
So now we have a state postulate. State postulate, I think I'll define it tomorrow. We'll keep it for tomorrow, next class. So I'll recap what I explained right from the beginning, right? We started with the thermodynamic definition. What is thermodynamics? How it is? What is the different approaches for thermodynamics? I said there is a macroscopic approach and microscopic approach. Macroscopic approach looks at the bulk behavior of the material. It measures the bulk properties of the material. It is not bothered about what happens at atomic level or molecular level. Whereas a microscopic approach looks at the behavior of material at atomic level, molecular level, and sums it up. We try to sum up those properties and arrive at the bulk behavior of the material. Famous example is kinetic theory gases, which all of you have studied in class 2 PUC. Okay, so then we defined system surrounding boundary. Right? What is system? Region of interest in a space is called a system. Everything else is called a surrounding. I have something I want to know, study about. That I define, that I call it as my system. Everything else is a surrounding. The boundary is something that separates system and surrounding is called boundary. This boundary can be imaginary, real, moving boundary, or a fixed boundary. All possibilities are there. Right? Then again, systems are two types: open system, closed system. Open system is the one in which both mass and the energy transfer is allowed across the boundary. Boundary allows both mass transfer as well as energy transfer. Then we call it as open system. Closed system is something that allows only energy transfer, not the mass transfer. Right? Closed system, open system. Right? Both examples we saw. Then we defined the equilibrium. Okay, what is equilibrium? Then what is when we say conditions for equilibrium? Say something is in equilibrium. When we say if something is in equilibrium, if three conditions are satisfied: mechanical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, and thermal equilibrium. If all three are satisfied, then we say system is in a state of equilibrium. Okay, so these are the very fundamentals you should understand. If you say any of the terms that I listed till now, if you don't understand any one term, then you will not understand thermodynamics. Okay, am I clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any of the terms, if you have any doubt on all the definitions I gave, even single doubt, don't keep it with you. Please discuss with me, get it clarified. If you have one doubt, then you will not understand the subject. Okay, this thermodynamics is step by step. If you don't understand the first lecture, you will not understand the second lecture. If you don't understand first and second, you will not understand third lecture. Right? That is how the syllabus is framed. If you don't understand first module, definitely you will not understand second module. If you don't understand first and second module, you will not understand third module. If you don't understand first and second, third, then you will definitely not understand fourth and fifth. Okay? So that it is arranged in an order. So if you have to understand the second module, you must understand first module. You cannot skip. Right? In some subjects, it is possible. You can leave first module and read the fifth module. It is possible. But in thermodynamics, it's not possible. You have to study first module, only then you go to second module, third module, fourth module. Okay? If you don't understand first module, don't go to study fourth, fifth module. No point in doing that. You will never understand. Okay? So that is how it is organized. Please do give concentration on what I teach here. Whenever if you don't understand something, please do ask. Don't hesitate. Okay? I'm always open to it. If you are not able to get, if you don't get any doubt during class, no problem. If you get doubt later, you please call me or send a message. I'll definitely reply. Okay? So shall we wind up? Any response?
Yes,
So we'll close now. Before closing, just don't leave the meeting. Hang on. Let me see how many people have attended today's meeting. 34 people have attended the class. Rest have not attended. Total strength of the class is 47. Only I find here 30 for attendees. Please inform your friends what is their issue. And Eti, who is this? Eti Kumar, who is raising hand. Any doubt you have, Eti? Nitin, do you have any doubt? No? Okay, just hang on. I will download the attendance list. Then you can give. 2 minutes. Okay, attendance is done. Now you can leave. Okay. Thank you. All the best. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
If anyone has any doubt, you can continue. Others can leave. If you don't have, please all of you leave the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye. All the
Sir,
best.
sir,
Yes. Yeah. Tell me.
You had explained about thermal equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, and mechanical equilibrium, right?
Yes.
Are those applicable for thermodynamic equilibrium?
No, thermal equilibrium, thermodynamic equilibrium both mean same. Okay, sorry, thermal equilibrium different. Thermodynamic equilibrium, if I say thermodynamic equilibrium, all three should be satisfied.
So thermodynamic equilibrium means a state of complete equilibrium.
Yes,
What the
totally.
normal equilibrium, what we say,
No.
that is thermodynamic equilibrium.
Yes, yes, yes. Suppose there is a chemical equilibrium is there. Let us say. Okay, there is no mechanical equilibrium. Then it is not thermodynamic equilibrium. It is only chemical equilibrium.
Okay, sir.
There is a mechanical equilibrium, but not chemical equilibrium and thermal equilibrium. Then it is only mechanical equilibrium. If I want to call it as thermodynamic equilibrium, all three should be satisfied.
Okay.
Okay, clear?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
All the best. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.